Good evening. This is my video project about my story and getting more comfortable with telling my story. Um, all right, so we're gonna actually begin right now. Okay. Empty your mind, be formless, shapeless like water. If you put water into a cup, it will become the cup. If you put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. Put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. That is a famous quote of Bruce Lee. Um, basically telling us that we are like water, and we are able to take shape to any situation we're in, and we're able to conquer it or go with the flow of the river. Also, like with how God shapes our lives with the unpredictable aspects of our lives that only are in His hands. We can only It's almost like just God's placing us in a new cup or a new shape or a new holder, and sorry, and it it's only up to us to adapt to that glass He's put us in. Um, so my name is Mark Anthony Sheridan Jr. Um, I plan on naming my son, if I am able to have one, Mark Anthony Sheridan Jr. Mark Anthony Sheridan the third. I think it'd be cool to carry on my name legacy from my father. I was baptized into the Catholic Church when I was little. I have no memory of it, but I remember going to Catholic church with my grandparents on my dad's side. Um, I thought it was super boring. I hated it, and it always just felt like I was forced to do something I didn't want to do, so I wasn't really keen or had any likeness to going to church. I later on made a friendship that was bringing me into the church, but at a young age, I took things very literally, and they were teaching Old Testament stuff, and so I was thinking that to have God, to be in God's favor, you had to give blood offerings. So every time I would play outside and get a cut, I would offer it up to God. But now I know that is a wrong thing to do, and I grew out of that anyways, so I didn't have to worry about that. And then I got more into the science factors of the world when I started Earth Space Science and thought, God is full of baloney and the Bible is too, and it's all just made up fairy tale, and science is the only thing that makes sense. And that's the big difference between science and the Bible to me was one makes sense and the other doesn't make any sense. Like one had more evidence to me at the time. And then more into my high school years, I started to believe in more of a spiritual aspect of things. I started believing in ghosts and spirits and stuff, and I uh, I was into witchcraft basically. I'd perform rituals. It wasn't like sacrificing anything or anything crazy like that, but I was able to talk to spirits, um, idols, other idols like the Greek and Roman gods and the Egyptian gods. I've spoken to every single one of them, regardless of your beliefs. It is real. Um, it even says in the Bible in Genesis that there are other gods other than God, but as they are not the creator, so it doesn't matter. They're just demons posing as gods. And I could go on and on about my knowledge of the dark forces of the world, but God found me in the middle of that and pulled me out of it. Thankfully, I've been blessed by God in that aspect of my life. I uh, Before going any further into my story, I mean into uh, my main message and stuff, I have to give a small preface on what occurred to me when I was about 4 to 5 years old. I was in a car accident and I suffered from a subepidermal hematoma. I had eternal brain bleeding and I needed immediate brain surgery from a car accident. And because of that, I was supposed to be altered for the rest of my life, but the brain surgeon who was about to follow through on everything decided to check the MRI scans one more time. And so I did another run through and everything healed all on its own miraculously. So I am a living miracle and I have experienced another miracle much later in my life, but we will get more into that later. Um, Now, the main like message or the theme of my whole thing is that or like, or just like, hold on. My main message is basically that is more like related to the Bruce Lee quote I referenced earlier that uh we are to be formless, shapeless like water. Um, it's just to be like, no matter what occurs in your life, we're able to adapt to literally anything, and we as humans have infinite potential in that fact. And so, no matter what is thrown in our lives or taken from our lives, we're able to adapt and become infinitely stronger than we were before. And I'm going to share my life story on how we do that, or like more about myself. Um, my vision is that I would like to have the most beautiful garden in the world, and um, and that would include the most beautiful flowers from around the world. I have a really good eye for flowers, and it honestly like fills my heart up with so much joy when I look at a flower. Um, and I've always wanted to become a monk who lives alone in like a temple somewhere and just completely um, give my life to something that's not my own. Um, I also want to understand suffering in the world, but know peace more than anything else. Um, I I sadly do not understand flowers that well. I understand that a lot of flowers need more maintenance than others, and so I'm working on that. I also do not have the wisdom I wish to have right now, and that will only come with time, and I cannot control time or how fast my life goes. And uh, yes, I am very well understanding of things that I'm unable to control. Um, Throughout my life, I have dealt with very troubling things that shouldn't make me the way I am today, but I have, I feel like I'm a lot higher than I should be, if this makes sense. Just to go over little things is I've almost watched my friend die right in front of me. My mother attempted suicide when I was younger. My family just split up actually completely, and I've dealt with my parents fighting most of my life. My pets have died, and I've dealt with breakups. These are all things that have positively impacted my life. And I know that's a weird thing to say. Oh, how can bad things positively affect our lives? Well, if none of those things ever happened to me, I wouldn't be who I am right now. So I think it's a good thing. All the bad things are good things, just like in Job. Um, and the people that have caused me pain in my life are also my largest pillars, which is my mother and my father and all my grandparents and some teachers and coaches. Uh, Even though they have caused me pain, great pain when I was younger, they have also caused me great success in my life and much happiness. And in my eyes, that outweighs the bad they've done, or because I've done bad things too. So who am I to judge? Um, right now, I where I am now, though, feel like I'm on an on and off relationship with God. It's not easy being a Christian, and even though I'm in an all Christian school, which should make it super easy, and that's I feel like what everyone thinks, but everyone has the wrong idea of coming into a Christian university if they think it's going to be easy, because it's not. Um, because we all know that we're it's hard to choose the right thing to do all the time because we want to give in to ourselves and our bodily desires and our thoughts, and yet we as Christians have to say, no, I'm not going to continue in those processes and choose not to do that. Um, like I before was able to um, bring in Job into this. Through this class, we have gone through the wisdom books of Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Job. Um, Proverbs has helped me understand that there are such things as omnipresent qualities, excuse me, which I've discussed in my wisdom paper. Um, it's just to prove that God is in everything we do in our everyday lives, and I'd say it's basically impossible to not have God in your life. Um, Job grants me the happiness um, that we always have hope, and no matter what happens, and that also God, who is a perfect being, has faith in the imperfect, and then He has faith that we always do the right thing, even if we are bound by to this world by sin. And for me, Ecclesiastes, I haven't read it enough to have a good enough explanation of how I feel about it or how it's impacted my life. Um, a encouragement for you guys or anyone that's watching this video is that get as get comfortable with asking questions. Now I understand asking questions is a very hard thing for us to overcome is with asking for help. Oh, I feel bad. I don't want to burden someone. You know, the point of asking questions is to become more wise or generate more wisdom from other people that you cannot obtain by yourself. Um, you could obtain them by yourself through harsh experiences, but rather experience them through from other people's choices they made that can help you come to that conclusion in a much easier way. Um, I think there's an art in asking questions, and there should be. You guys should learn how to ask questions in the best way possible. I think questions are the most useful resource we have, and um, um, it I have found that asking questions has improved my journey with God exponentially. I came into Bushnell my freshman year last year, not knowing a thing, like literally anything about God or Jesus or the Bible, and now to a point where I can confidently quote some scripture or like confidently give you arguments that about God and like a lot of things actually. Uh, yeah, I can only say that I am well rehearsed in God and Jesus and the Bible itself, and a lot of things of the Bible and the themes. So asking questions is highly important for you to continue moving forward in your life. And it doesn't have to be like complex questions, a simple question is enough. Once you get so good at questions that you can answer a question with another question, which means that you fully understand the question being asked, so you follow up a question with it, which answers the question you're being asked, and you can just keep going with it. It's kind of funny. Um, so like I said, be like water. You know, um, is like back to the main message of being like water and how we should be able to form. We can become anything that's put in our lives. Uh, but like water, we can take things in almost. So like we can take shape of anything. You could apply that into being in a constant pursuit of knowledge and wisdom. Uh, and following the conquest of understanding our souls inside. I can't find what philosopher said it. I've researched it multiple times, but I read it in a book about Stoicism, or it wasn't Stoicism, it was about Aristotle, Plato, and Epicus. We're talking about, we're just a back and forth conversation in a giant book I had, and it said that our soul quenches for knowledge more than anything ever, and it's what fills our heart completely. And it says in Proverbs that God is the foot of knowledge and wisdom and understanding. So by pursuing knowledge, we are pursuing God in direct way. Um, that is my story. I know you wanted this video to be a lot smaller, but thank you so much. God bless.